This day in sports history. It's April 15th, and on this day in 1947, Jackie Robinson integrated Major League Baseball. The Brooklyn Dodgers were at home on opening day against the Boston Braves. There were more than 26,000 jammed into Ebbets Field that day for the historic moment when Jackie Robinson would step onto the field to play first base for Branch Rickey's Dodgers. In his first two at-bats against Johnny Sain, Robinson grounded out. But in the seventh inning, a bunt and an error put Robinson on second. A few minutes later, he came around to score the winning run in a 5-3 Dodgers win. This historic day was more than 2 years in the making. In 1945, Robinson was playing with the Kansas City Monarchs in the Negro American League, making $400 a month. His bat had caught the attention of a lot of people in baseball, hitting .387 that season. While the Monarchs gave him a chance to play and earn a living, he, like a lot of the Negro League players, wanted to play in the major leagues. And 1945 was the beginning of change in baseball and in America. Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis died in the fall of 1944, and Happy Chandler was voted in by the owners in 1945 as the new baseball commissioner. This is significant because Landis had refused to lift the ban that had been in place since 1884, barring black players in the major leagues. But change was in the air in post-war America. Branch Rickey thought that it wasn't only the right thing to do, but also financially positive for the game to integrate baseball. But he had to find the right player and the right person to make it more palatable to the white owners, players, and fans of baseball. Robinson was an attractive choice for Rickey because he was a college graduate from UCLA. He had served in World War II attached to the 761st Tank Battalion, and he was a fantastic athlete. He also needed a player who had the quote-unquote guts to not fight back, but to endure. In October 1945, Rickey signed Robinson to a minor league contract, and he was assigned to Montreal. That signing ended segregation in the International League that had stood since 1880. With Montreal in 1946, Robinson had hit .349 and he won the batting crown and helped the team win the International League. So now Rickey wanted to promote Jackie to Brooklyn, and the other owners knew that. Here's Happy Chandler talking about that day when a stroke of his pen made it possible for Jackie to play on this day.
In 1947, at a meeting at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York, and I presided over the meeting, the owners anticipated that Rickey might want to bring Robinson from Montreal to Brooklyn, so they debated and discussed for 2 hours the Jackie Robinson situation expressly. And then they took a vote. They voted 15-1 not to let him play. As soon as that meeting was over, Rickey called me, and I said to him simply after we discussed it, I'm going to have to meet my maker someday. And he asked me why I didn't let this boy play, and I say it's because he's black. It might not be a satisfactory answer.
Robinson faced a barrage of threats, insults, and racist remarks from not just fans and other teams, but his own teammates. Dodgers manager Leo DeRocher made sure to nip that in the bud quickly.
They had a petition out that they weren't going to play with him, and I said, he's going to play in this club, and you better wake up, boys, because he's only the first of many to follow.
Robinson did endure everything thrown at him with a grace that can hardly be comprehended. Here is Robinson in early 1972 on the Dick Cavett Show, talking about this day and this period of time.
It wasn't going to upset me. There was really too much to be done at that particular time in terms of breaking the baseball barrier to allow name-calling to bother me. I keep remembering what my mother told me when I was a kid, although I've always been a guy that turned back. She said something about sticks and stones will break your bones, you know, and so not to be concerned about it. Well, I didn't at the time, and fortunate for the advice that I got from Mr. Rickey and the encouragement and the guidance I got from my wife at home, we were able to withstand most of the kinds of situations that came up. We were prepared because of the numbers of people on our side.
Robinson passed away about 8 months after that interview aired. He was 53 years old. In 1997, Major League Baseball retired Robinson's number 42 and announced that no MLB player would ever wear that number again. Now, While Robinson was the first black player in modern baseball history, it should be pointed out that he wasn't the first ever black player to play in the major leagues. Back in the 1880s, there were a few black players who played for major league teams, and one prominent player was Moses Fleetwood Walker, who played in 1884 with the Toledo Blue Stockings before being removed from the team and banned by the rule against black players playing in the majors that lasted until 1947. Hey, you've heard me talk about the Stirling Soap Company for a while now, and whether you've jumped on board and smell like an absolute champion, or you've been a little hesitant, then here's a great opportunity for you. We're giving away a $75 gift card to use at stirlingsoap.com. Stirling Soap is 100% natural and with a variety of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, cologne, and many more personal care products in a large variety of scents, you're sure to find something that's perfect for you. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways for your chance to win a $75 gift card to the Stirling Soap Company. I've put a link in the show notes as well. Now, let's get back to the episode. The Boston Celtics have had a lot of franchise-defining moments over the past 8 decades. Well, on this day in 1965, it was one of those special moments in Boston Celtics history. It was Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and it was the Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. The series had seesawed back and forth, and with 5 seconds left in the game, Boston led 110-109, and they had the basketball. But Bill Russell made a mistake.
There are 5 seconds left. Now Russell
He loses the ball off the support. Russell lost the ball off the support, and Boston is only leading by 1 point.
So now Philadelphia had the basketball, and they also had Wilt Chamberlain. If they could score, they could snap the Celtics' championship streak, which at that point was at 6 consecutive. With the Sixers' Hal Greer set to trigger the inbounds pass, here's what happened next.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over to Stan Jones. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek.
As he lobbed it, I thought right away that I might have a chance to deflect it, intercept it, or whatever. And as this happened, I was able to go up and momentarily control it and deflect it to Sam Jones, who dribbled out the clock. Russell was the first one to get to me because he realized that he had been wearing the goat horns, and he said, "Thank you for taking those horns off the top of my head." And by that time, trying to get to the locker room was almost an impossibility, and the fans really got crazy. They started to rip at my jersey, and they did tear my jersey off. They were so jubilant about this victory.
That jersey was apparently ripped into tiny souvenir shreds. Havlicek said he encountered many fans around Boston in the subsequent years who would pull out a small piece of fabric from his torn jersey that they had acquired to show him. The Celtics moved on to the NBA Championship Series with the LA Lakers, winning that series in 5 games and extending their consecutive NBA title streak to 7. On this day in 2019, the Los Angeles Clippers pulled off the biggest comeback in NBA playoff history. It was Game 2 of the Western Conference first-round matchup with Golden State. Up 94-63 with about 7.5 minutes to play in the third quarter, the 2-time defending champion Warriors looked like they would breeze to a 2-0 series lead, but Clippers coach Doc Rivers looked down his bench and called on Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell to spark something, anything.
Lou Williams, played by Andre Iguodala, got the step, and a beautiful setup for Harrell. Foul by Golden State. Here's Williams on the drive. Count it, and a foul. 3 by Curry. It's a 3-point lead for the Warriors, who have led by as many as 31. Here's Williams, puts on the brakes, and scores.
Over the final 19.5 minutes, the Clippers outscored the Warriors 72-37. Harrell was a perfect 9 for 9 from the field, and he ended the night with 25 points and 10 rebounds. Williams dropped 36 points and dished out 11 assists, erasing a 31-point deficit and going on to win 135-131 and even the series at a game apiece. Despite the dramatic comeback, the Warriors would go on to win the series in 6 games. On this day in 2015, former New England Patriot Aaron Hernandez was found guilty for the first-degree murder of Odin Lloyd. Lloyd was shot and killed on July 17, 2013, about a mile from Hernandez's house. He had been riding around with Hernandez the night before and the morning of his murder. A text to his sister, initially thought to be a brag about who he was hanging out with, was later seen by some to be a fear for his life. And an "if anything happens to me, then you know" sort of text. Hernandez quickly became a suspect, and he was arrested on July 26th of 2013. The trial began late January 2015 before ending on this day 3 months later. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Hernandez committed suicide in prison April 19, 2017. On this day in 1912, the Carpathia arrived on the scene of the sinking of the Titanic and brought aboard survivors adrift in the icy water. 2 of those rescued on this day were Richard Williams and Carl Baer, well-known tennis players at the time. Williams was traveling first class with his father. The younger Williams had won the Swiss championship the year before, and he was traveling to the U.S. to enroll at Harvard. His father was his coach, and they were one of the last to jump off the ship into the frigid Atlantic. Richard was able to swim to safety, but his father was crushed by one of the falling funnels. Carl Baer was also traveling first class with his fiancée's family. They were able to load into one of the first launched lifeboats. Baer had been a member of the 1907 Davis Cup team and had finished second in the men's doubles at Wimbledon in '07. Baer, more than Williams, dealt with survivor's guilt for many years following his rescue. He did marry the woman whose family he was traveling with on the Titanic in 1913, and he continued his tennis career, but he dealt with depression and feelings of guilt for the remainder of his life. Baer and Williams would go head-to-head in a tennis tournament in July of 1912. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. If you had a VHS copy of Wayne's World, and let's say that you never saw the movie in theaters, then you may not have gotten one of the jokes in the movie. When Wayne goes to the guitar store and tests out an electric model, he plays a few notes before the sales guy stifles the notes and points to a sign that reads, "No Stairway to Heaven." Now, in the theater release, the first 4 notes that Wayne had played were the first 4 notes of Stairway to Heaven. But on the VHS copy, they were not. The reason is that Led Zeppelin and Warner Brothers Music wanted to charge Paramount $100,000 for those 4 notes. Paramount refused, and then ruined the joke on VHS and DVD releases until 2022, when Paramount released it on 4K Blu-ray. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.